Okay, well, I will answer the question that came in from Juan, and he's asking about medications. And, are they necessary for a highly sensitive person? Are there consequences to it? It's such a great question. And I like to talk about this because I've had so much experience in this field as a psychotherapist and then doing my global work on top of that. And what I have seen is most HSPs who are really committed and dedicated to understanding their nervous system and really making the changes that are needed in their life to balance it don't need medications or can go off of medications. And I think that's an important thing to understand because anybody that's on medications, I think you should definitely be also working with a therapist at the same time. Something that concerns me, especially in our Western culture, is that people are going to their medical doctors who are, general practitioners who know a little bit about a lot of things, but not a lot about this particular thing. And so what happens is they are, oh, you have anxiety, you have depression, here's some pills. And then there's no follow-up, there's no psychotherapy done, and that is really concerning for me. So absolutely they should be combined if somebody is taking medication. Other areas that would potentially be, I think I've really only seen a few cases of people that feel that they have to be on medication. And those are generally people that are either going through something incredibly traumatic at the time and they're planning on using some form of medication that helps them through that period of time and then weaning off of it. Or they can't make the changes that are necessary in their life and their nervous system is just constantly on overload. But it's really interesting. I put out some information one time about medication that it was something like 80 to 90% of medication only worked for a very small amount of people. And that's so worrisome for HSPs because we get so, impacted by side effects, for example. So it's something to think about. You also have to, I also suggest that people talk to their doctors if they're planning on starting a medication or going off of a medication, that the dosages be incredibly low. So if a doctor says, oh, you should take, 10 milligrams of this, I would suggest talking to your doctor about possibly even taking half of that. It's also when you're weaning off a medication, you're going to need to wean off it more slowly. This is what I've seen in this population. And in my research, about 60 to 70% of HSPs say that they're sensitive to medications. I actually think it might be a little bit higher than that based on what I've seen. And then to answer his question about are there other things you can do? Absolutely. We've shown in several of our earlier events, we have specific conversations about the nervous system. So I think that there's a couple of steps. There's the step of first we need to look at what is our life looking like. If we're in a constant chaos, working, no breaks, no downtime, no meditation, constant chaos, then that nervous system container is always full and always overflowing. That's going to cause a problem. That's going to cause anxiety issues, possibly depression, panic attacks, different things like that. And so I just truly believe, because I've seen this so many times, that if you get committed to changing your lifestyle and starting to plant those seeds to making changes in your life, that you absolutely can do this without medication. You can reduce these symptoms, especially with the brain training. That's what I've seen. And if you need some extra support, there's actually herbal supplements. And we had a wonderful herbalist talk to our community that's also a part of our events that you can watch if you haven't already. I would definitely recommend watching that. She put on such a beautiful slideshow, and she actually presented 3 different herbs that were really good for sensitive people. So, and we have heard from some members that that's actually helped them, some of those herbs. There's so many things. I mean, I invite you, if you're somebody that's really questioning if you need medication and you're struggling, please watch the earlier events that we've done because we've had so many great discussions from different specialists about the nervous system, and you can take, you know, bits and pieces of information that you love that are going to support you in trying out different things. But definitely got to slow down that motor. That's a huge piece. If you slow down the motor, because I'm somebody that used to have a lot of anxiety and depression in my life, and we know that based on research, if we didn't have the support that we needed in our childhood, we're more likely to have anxiety and depression. But if we get the right support in our childhood, we're actually less likely than those without the trait to have anxiety and depression, and we really excel in life even further. But many of us didn't get that kind of support because we didn't know about the trait. Our parents didn't know about the trait when we were young. So you can reparent yourself now. You can do inner child work. You can work with a therapist that knows about the trait, which is why I've started the referral list in our community. So if you haven't already, take a look at that. We've got therapists that work all over the world and can do sessions through video and phone and things like that. I think it's really important that your therapist and your doctor know about the trait. And I have a couple of guides on my website also, a guide to give your doctor and a guide to give your therapist that is really helpful. If you're working with a therapist or doctor that doesn't know about their trait, please tell them, please educate them. Because you're going to see, you're going to help a lot of people. Up to at least 50% of clients in therapy have this trait. I mean, how crazy is that? We're only 20% of the population, but at least 50% have this trait. So it's really important that your therapists and doctors know about the trait, because you're helping people that come after you too. And everybody knows somebody with this trait. And there's 1.4 billion of us out there, so it's important to understand. So hopefully that's helpful. So the short answer is, I don't think you need medication. If you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to make the changes in your life that will help you find balance. But you also need to talk to your own doctor and your own therapist about that to make that decision for yourself.